Hey folks, I want to take a few moments to respond to an article I read in the Daily Mail quite a while back. The article is about a 28-year-old mother of a premature newborn being thrown out of a Pizza Express establishment for wanting to breastfeed her new bundle of joy. That's right, she was castigated for wanting to practice something that, believe it or not, is older than prostitution and certainly more sacred: motherhood. Let's cite some of the article, shall we? A new mother felt humiliated after being told she could not breastfeed her premature baby in Pizza Express. Lisa Wilson was on her first day out with 8-week-old Oliver and partner Connor Morrison when they sat down at Pizza Express in Victoria Square, Belfast, for lunch. The new mother asked for a booth where she could feed Oliver in privacy, but was informed by the new manager, "You cannot breastfeed in this restaurant." Okay, so she's out at a restaurant with her new baby to get a bite to eat. Baby decides he's hungry too. I really have to wonder what the manager of this store was thinking. If he wanted this chick to cover up, he could have just given her a pizza box. 2 if she has double D's, but judging by her picture, that's not the case. And if his store can't afford a spare box or 2, an apron from one of the chefs should do the trick. I remember a time when the legislation of prostitution was being promoted and Christians were, well, a little more Christian. They objected. Christians were told, relax, it's just sex. Well, to those of you who object to the practice that has been around since virtually the beginning of time, I say, relax, it's just breastfeeding. It's not a porno flick. Have you been to the beach lately? You can see more of a woman's boobs while she's taken in to raise than you can while a mother is breastfeeding her child. And don't even get me started on bikini bottoms. Why all the fuss? Why all of the nonsense? I have an answer. I'll get to that in a moment. Ms. Wilson told Belfast Live, "We were looking forward to it, but it turned into a horrible, embarrassing, and humiliating situation. We were told there was no breastfeeding in a restaurant, like it was a shameful thing to even consider." Honey, don't listen to these types of people. You're doing the most natural, honorable, precious thing a mother could do. What God put mothers on this earth to do: bear and nurture children. If you're going to be embarrassed for these morons and their pitiful state of denial of nature and reality. I have to say something really important here, however. I noticed the article refers to the father as your partner, not your husband. I don't know if the writer of this report is in a hot romance with political correctness, or if you're not married to the boy's father. But if you're not, marry him. Give your son, Oliver, a fair shot at life by committing to his father and making sure you do everything you can to see to it his father is there for him. Demand it. Demand that he be an example to little Oliver how to be a man. If you don't marry his father, you are doing Oliver a horrible, atrocious disservice. The article continues. Ms. Wilson added, "It is a total disgrace in 2017 that a woman is basically turned away from anywhere because she plans to breastfeed her child." I agree, but I have a question. What does being 2017 have to do with anything? People say it's 2017 as though to say, get with the times. Frankly, we've become this mass lost cause of helpless morons, and it's going to get worse with each passing year. Why? I just said a moment ago that I have an answer to the reason for all of the fuss and all of the nonsense. Here it is. You ready? It's a war on motherhood and a war on children. That's right. Everything in nature is being disavowed. There's a war on men in general, especially fathers and fatherhood. Has been for years. The message is being peddled that men aren't needed. In vitro fertilization and single motherhood are 2 weapons in the arsenal. There's a war on children. The message is being sent loud and clear via abortion. There's a war on women, mothers, and motherhood. That message is being propagated by promoting abortion, birth control, and encouraging mothers to dump their 6 or 8 week old infants off with some strangers at daycare and go to work. Sodomy and transgenderism are being openly celebrated like winning the lottery. Even differences between boys and girls, men and women, roles of the sexes are being aggressively attacked. I guess in your case, you're supposed to buy formula for your baby, which probably costs about as much as feeding 2 goats, a horse, and a cow each month, and it's not nearly as good for the baby as hooking him up to one of your extensions for free, but hey, who cares about your kid and your finances, right? There's a war to fight. The manager of the pizza joint surely doesn't seem to care. Even worse, maybe he's a soldier in that war against women, mothers, and motherhood and children. Can you think of a more natural, intimate, nurturing, affectionate thing a mother can do for her child? The bonding that takes place between a mother and child during those special moments is something no man can possibly imagine, and the benefits of breastfeeding for both mother and child are sure to astound the most brilliant of scientists, if ever discovered. What the manager of this store told this mother was deeply disappointing, to say the least. I wasn't too encouraged with regards to the intelligence of humanity after reading the comments either. Feed him before or after, says one. Not in public, says another. I'm not a child's rights activist, far from it. But when you're talking about an 8-week-old baby, he decides when it's time to eat, not the mother. He smelled pizza, but he can't have any yet. So lactose from good old mom will have to do. And do you know what happens when mom is carrying a full load and she is neither breastfeeding the baby nor wearing breast pads? I do. I've seen it happen in a restaurant, and the poor mom was embarrassed and apologized all over herself. True story. Which brings me to another point. I would rather see mom breastfeeding her baby than to see a young woman looking as though she's a contestant in a wet t-shirt contest. And most moms would probably prefer breastfeeding over feeling like the star of a peep show, too. Okay, back to the article. Zoe Boley, managing director of Pizza Express, said, "We are so sorry that Ms. Wilson and Mr. Morrison had this experience in one of our restaurants. We have a policy which welcomes breastfeeding across all of our restaurants. In this instance, our policy was obviously not adhered to, and we will make sure to communicate this again to our staff to ensure that this doesn't happen to anyone ever again. We are in direct contact with the couple to resolve this issue." Good. Somebody with common sense. Zoe Boley deserves a common sense award. The store manager, however, deserves a bozo button and to be disciplined. I have a few suggestions for Pizza Express regarding this couple. Number 1, apologize publicly and repeatedly. Number 2, communicate with the manager of this store that he'd better get with the program. Number 3, provide free pizza for this family for a year, either at the restaurant or delivered to their home. Delivery also free, anytime they ask, even if it is every day you are open. Number 4, put signs in several locations throughout your restaurant encouraging breastfeeding and, if possible, designate a particular section of the restaurant to breastfeeding mothers. Number 5, tell customers who object to this reprehensible behavior, relax, it's just breastfeeding.